Good evening. Welcome to the live stream. So much chat going on already that I was reading the chat. I did laugh with Billy saying, guess the beverage. Well, I got the football next to me, as you would expect. I don't have a beverage tonight. I just finished a drink, so I'm not with a drink. So there you go. I bet shocked. Should have got some water, to be honest, because it is a hot one at the moment, and it's going to get even hotter. So we can get into that. If people think they were mounting a few weeks ago, they're definitely going to be mounting in a few days' time. So, and I'm at a conference for those 3 hot days. So I'm hoping that there is air conditioning at least in that place. So the chat is generally about the heat. But it will get a lot hotter. It will get a lot hotter. So good evening to you all and welcome. It's interesting. I was just with the family, and there was in my office, and I was looking on Amazon, just asking the question: have they put the prices up? Because with Amazon now, they have the price history, and a lot of them have gone up. And the other thing that I had to do while you listened to my music was I had that heat hair where my hair was all over the place, and so I had to run upstairs and spray some stuff on because it just looked all over the place. Good for first thing in the morning when you get out of bed, not so good for a live stream. So it does look quite wet because I use sea salt. That's what I use. So feel sorry for me. It's all about me. Like this morning when I was the only one in robes. The choir didn't robe, but I was the only one in robes, and I was melting. Now I've shut up shop in my office, and if you watch regularly, you know that this place gets quite hot. So you know that you die for your craft, don't you? So it's going to get hot in this place. So if my face gets gradually redder, I might have to go get that glass of water. So got some things to say that we've been what's happening this week, quite exciting, and that reminds me of one thing that I got to do. So this week I have met up with my friend who we were going round, the one that I'm going around Europe with. And I think it's taken us trying to get 2 vicars together for like a literal day. It's taken about 6 weeks and 2 cancellations, but we finally did it. He came this weekend, drove over and stayed at my place, and then we drove down, or rode. We don't say drove, we rode down together with our bikes fully laden. His was fully laden with all the stuff that he's got. I still have to get some stuff for my trip. I'm waiting for Amazon Prime this week to get it cheaper. You should see my watch list, or my wish list is crazy. And sorry, I just need to get a code for my Give Send Go. My Give Send Go, because I haven't got any donations. They closed it down. So I need to start it back up. That's how poor I am pushing this. So I need to redo it. So as I got it in my mind, I will republish it. So and that was good. And then on Saturday, so I spent the day down at his place, and then on Saturday I came back, and I thought what I'll do is I'll ride in one go without stopping. It's just about 3 hours, 45 minutes, just to see how my body would cope. And it coped reasonably well. My wrist really hurt from the throttle, and that was just a pain. What else hurt? My earplug was rubbing on my ear. It folded over, and my ear was so sore. It's actually still sore. So I got to sort out earplugs, and my coccyx for the seat was really. So there's 3 things to get sorted out. That's why it was good to do that, and it shows me, even though we're not going to ride that far in one go, the accumulation of nearly well over 9,000 kilometers is going to really play on those things. So, and also a very heavy bike. So that was quite interesting. I've ridden heavy bikes before, but you have to get used to riding them, and the center of gravity and stopping and things like that. So that was fun, and a taster of what's to come at the end of July for 6 weeks. So I'm looking forward to it now, and so is he. And we got a plan. We got a website up. I can't give the website out at the moment because we're still testing it for launch. But one of the cool things is you can follow us live. And I know there's a novelty to that, and people will do that for a day or two, but they're not going to do it for 42 days. They might check in a bit later and go, where are you? Let's see how you're getting up to. But he did this really lovely graphic of where we're stopping and the approximate dates. So that was quite cool. So people, when they get on there, I think I can launch that next week and tell you that next week you will be able to see exactly where we are, which would be cool. So you can stalk us. Literally, I think it drops a pin every 10 minutes. So literally where we are, if you got nothing to do. So we did that. And you kind of load up the bike and the clothes, and you wear all those things to work out what's good. I decided that I'm not going to take my new riding trousers because they just so hot and uncomfortable and not practical. So I've got some riding jeans with the Kevlar with knee and hip pads and stuff like that, which is going to be far more practical. So that's one of the things we've been doing. And then I'll go on to chat, and if I can remember, I will get to the next thing I'm doing next week. And if I don't say, you can ask me, what are you doing next week? So where do I jump into chat? Let's jump in at Shiv. I think most of it was conversations between, I think if I miss it, I'm going to start at Siv saying, hey Rev, good evening. If there's anything important before, put it back down below. So good evening. Billy, beverage less, grab some water. We'll wait. I will if I need to. Because to be honest, it's Father's Day and my kids got me a very big bottle of beer. So I had that, which actually in the heat, and it's more like water than beer, to be honest. It doesn't make you drunk or anything. It just makes you just enjoy a nice cold drink. 725, good evening to you, Ashley. Hey guys, hope everyone's finding a way to keep cool in the heat. Currently got 4 fans on trying to keep the German Shepherd cool. Yeah. That's why I was in one sense looking at, not that we need a fan, we just moved the fan that we got around the house. But if it gets incredibly hot upstairs, so if worse comes to worse, we decamp downstairs and we just sleep downstairs. Billy, if something goes on sale, I used to have it at the higher price for 28 days before. I had no idea if that's still a thing. Yeah, it's that's a law, but that's for sale. They can change prices. Yeah, a bit complicated, but because I remember I used to work in retail, so I just a bit have to remember. Used to remember arguing for customers when things were priced up wrong, and said you have to sell it at this price now. We said, well, we can't sell it at that price. No, you have to because you advertised it. We say no, we can take it off sale for 24 hours. And so we take it off sale for 24 hours. And then sometimes the people will turn around and go, but I want it, I need it. And we say, well, we literally now cannot sell it to you because we're just taking it off sale. You pushed us to a point where we had to take it off sale. Now we cannot sell it to you because then we'd be breaking the law. So And feel sorry for clergy having a robe at the moment. I'm lucky my seat is in the crossbreeze of the doors. Yeah, it's the choir were like, we're not robing today, and yeah, because I just it was just very sweaty. It was very hot, and the church is cool as well because it's a big old building, so I couldn't imagine in a more modern building, but they probably wouldn't robe in a more modern building. So Billy, can you get one of those cooling vests so that you can heat dump a bit? Probably wouldn't notice robes as they would hide well. To be honest, I could wear shorts and things and not a t-shirt because I've got to wear my clothes yet underneath. But actually, one thing I found in the winter is in my seat in my church, there is a hole and there is cool air. You feel it more in the winter, cold air just falling down on you. And I think that was happening today because I remember just sitting there going, oh, I don't feel as hot. So the trick is to do my service sat down as much as I possibly can. So Siv, Rev, is it safe in the UK for a Christian? Yeah, it's very safe in the UK for a Christian, really. All you're going to get is perhaps abuse or people saying stuff, but we don't get really anything, to be honest. You'll see stuff online, but for the everyday Christian, there's not a problem. Psalm 25, please pray. There has been a dreadful tragedy on the White City estate in West London where I lived last night. 3 quarters died when the disused building they were living in went up in flames. Yeah, we'd be praying for that. You know, it's to have conversations with people, and I know this happens, but you know, in a first world country, we shouldn't really be in some situations where we are, like with squatters and things, and people not having a place to live. Billy, Siv, I don't know if Rev Dan would agree, but my response would be variable. Feels like there are some no-go zones. I took it is there any how is it living as a Christian generally? But there are no-go zones even if you weren't a Christian in the UK. So yeah, there are just places that you can't go. There are places that the police can't go, I think. Let me see if I got this in focus. Psalm 125. Just come from the services at the local Anglican and Catholic churches who are providing the community with support as they are very traumatized and affected. Well, yeah, I mean, it is just horrendous. And I think a lot of people still think or believe, and it could happen more rarely, that people think people die by the fire, but it's the intoxication, but it's still a horrendous way to go, and for the family left behind. So we definitely pray for them and their friends and family. And again, the situation changes. We shouldn't be we're not very much a first world country, are we? We're not that good on a lot of things. So what else? Billy, refining muscles you didn't know you had. Equestrian undies for padded seating. Yes. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, the seat. My seat's got to be sorted out, but there's plenty of solutions. I've also it's a safety thing. I've got a couple of little spotlights to put on the front of the bike. Not fog lights, but auxiliary lights, so people are more aware as you're running along the road if they're coming out of junctions. There's more lights to see and a bit brighter. And also something to not run my battery down, because that's one thing I was speaking. I got a battery jump start, but in the package it's like this big, which is a lot of space, to be honest. And it's useful to have. And there's a danger of running your battery down by accidentally leaving something on, especially if we're in the hills, in the mountains in Bulgaria. That'd be a nightmare. But this senses when you left something on and automatically turns things off. And if the battery's running low, it doesn't give those things power. So it's kind of like an early warning system as well. So that's good. But yes, the muscle thing. Someone asked me about riding the bike. Like, is it easy to stop and things? And I said, well, actually, when you got that much weight on the bike, you don't want to stop. So if you come into traffic lights, you ride slowly. So in the test on a motorcycle is two parts. They call it mod 1 and mod 2. Mod 2 is out on the road. Mod 1 is on this big piece of tarmac, and you do different tests, like going around the corner. Is it 35 miles an hour, and then having to swerve out of something, an emergency brake. But one of the tests, you have to follow the instructor riding at 6 miles an hour maximum without putting your feet down. And that's what you try to do at traffic lights. So you're trying to anticipate the traffic lights and ride slowly, because if you're riding, you've got the center of balance on the bike and it's there, and you're just riding on the bike, and you just go slowly forward. And then but if you have to stop, and you have to put your foot down, and then the center of gravity moves, because the bike will always go like that. Well, because I'm on a big bike, so it'll go like that. So that means my core's then engaged, and and I'm fighting the bike to make sure it doesn't go over, and do that all the time, and you get really tired. So there are techniques, but it can, you need to be fit to do something like that. Billy, maybe try 2C TV for where the hotspots are, or for the hotspots for the where you can go and stuff like that. Good evening, Zoe. Siv, I want to move to some country where I just want to go to job, read about Christianity, pray church, somewhere less noise and peaceful. Well, we call it the grass is greener on the other side, Siv, and sometimes it might seem really good here, but it's got just as many problems as any other place as well. So, and I'm not saying it isn't as good as some people think it is, or where you are it might seem really good, but don't underestimate that there are problems here as well. So, Siv, is air conditioner banned in the UK? No, it isn't. No. But not many people, as Anne said, have them. They more have like air coolers, don't they? So, where you put ice in the bottom and it blows, and the fans go to cool you down. Billy, are we wrong price? Yes. Cable price is an offer to treat, not a final price. If it's wrong, they weren't required to sell it. Yeah, exactly. Billy, the benefit of stone floors and higher ceilings in the church. Right. Heat rising. Yeah. Well, we got high ceilings in our house, and wooden floors. And so it's cooler downstairs, but the heat rises, and upstairs it just gets stifling. And after a few days, and when we came, they re-insulated the loft, which is great in winter, but really doesn't help in summer. So upstairs just gets a bit, Billy, the benefit is, Siv, police can't go, really? Yeah. Yeah, in some places at some times. Well, they can. I think they choose not, if you know what I mean. It's if they don't want the hassle, but not really, really, really bad. And I caught up. So we'll see where we go to. It's a bit quieter tonight, so you'll have to do more talking. So, unless people come on. But I think that's the thing of this is it today, the summer solstice? I should know, because I rode past Stonehenge yesterday, and they had all the bollards out in the dual carriageway, closed down to one lane and things like that, for the summer solstice. And I think it is. Yeah, it is. So now every day gets a bit shorter. Now it's a sad day, but people are out and enjoying the weather. Actually, before it gets too hot and we can't enjoy it. So, Billy, I sleep downstairs when it's hot too. Walls hold the heat, so like you say, stifling. Yeah. Ashley, hi Dan. I know the book of Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees are not canon, but would you recommend reading them? I'm trying to expand my knowledge, but wanted to check on these before buying them. I've never read them. If I would say to read them, just read them as not as part. Obviously, they're not canonical. They won't have. As I said, it's not inspired by the word of God. It's not inspired by God. So it's good for knowledge, but with that, I would have, as you're reading them, an understanding of why they're not in the canon. Same for the Apocrypha. So we don't say it's canonical, but actually, I think even in the 39 articles, I think it says, read it. It's important. It's a history. It's a history, and you can learn from what they're writing and saying. But the other thing is, they might be online for free, because there are far better books that I probably recommend to buy. So yes, read them to understand what's going on, understand why they're not included in the canon. Get them for free if you can. I would recommend, the one that I will always recommend is Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. I think it's outside the Bible the best book. I love that book. Billy, longest day, Druid celebrations at sunrise at the solstice. Yeah. See, is Stonehenge really built for aliens? Well, if it was, it's taken the aliens like 3,000-4,000 years to come and do something. So I don't think so at the Paul Rev, shortest day. Oh yeah, down in Australia. Shortest day. Ooh. Iran's just scored a goal against Belgium. See their celebrations. That wouldn't have been on my cards tonight. Yeah, so you get the benefit now. Longest day and shortest night in the UK, Billy. Billy, thank you for the book recommendations last week. Went for Pilgrim's Progress and the Pilgrim's Way, but with the excerpt of Screwtape Letters gave me the ick. The ick. Screwtape Letters is very good though. I listen more than I read. That's a time thing, but I'm also more audible, so I like to listen to those things. And I will be listening to the to a lot of books on the way around Europe. Me and my friend got this talking cardo, so we can chat to each other, which is, it's funny because it's voice commands, right? You can use voice commands. You say, "Hey Cardo, do this and do that." Except for my friend's from Wales, and he's still got a slight twang, a Welsh twang, and Cardo can't understand him. So, and at one point, he was singing or something, I think he was, and I said as a joke, "Hey Cardo, turn Matthew's mic off," and it turned my mic off, right? So Matthew's like, "Oh, I should turn my mic off," and he said it, and it couldn't understand him, but my mic was off. So he said, "Dan, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" Testing whether it worked, and I said, "I can't hear. Well, I can't speak." Obviously, my mic was off, and I was trying to get my mic back on. I was like, "Hey Cardo, turn my mic back on. Hey Cardo, mic on," and it wouldn't turn back on. And he's on the bike going, "Yes, I did it. It's finally worked. It's understood me." So I had to literally turn my Cardo off and back on, and when it came back on, it reset itself. And I'm like, I had to tell him I was laughing so much that I heard everything he said. His mic wasn't muted, mine was muted, and Cardo still didn't understand him. It's that I told him that comedy sketch of the two Scottish people in the lift, and the thing won't understand them, so he has to use the manual controls just because. And he hasn't got a massive Welsh twang. It's there, You would know he's from Wales, but it just doesn't recognise him. Siv, do you know any evidence-based book? Do you know any evidence-based book on the resurrection of Jesus? Yeah, there's one from the 1930s called "Who Moved the Stone," and it's still one of the best books out there. Nearly 100 years old. So, "Who Moved the Stone"? I forgot by who it's by. But it's one of the books that I read at the beginning that helped me to become a Christian, as well as what else did I read? The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel, and another one which I would have to try to remember. Poor Wayfarer. On YouTube there are a few video versions of Pilgrim's Progress. Yeah, we got an animated version on Amazon Prime Movies, and that was a really good version. I watched it with my kids. I watched it with my son when it first came out, and we watched it again, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago. And we really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. It's very good. But there's a second part as well, where Christian's wife, the main character, goes to find him with the kids. And then a lot of people don't speak of that one as much. It's like part 2. And that's really lovely as well. I listened to that when I was a curate, when I was doing a lot of running. And I remember that she follows Colin in his footsteps, because the only way to heaven, isn't it? Keep on that straight path. So, and go through those same things. So that's very interesting. Billy, yep, mine's on Kindle, so I was listening to. Oh yeah, you can do that. Speech recognition is painful. Yes, it is. And finished my C.S. Lewis books, now moved on to I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. It's an interesting approach to apologetics. Now, I've always wanted to read or listen to that one, but haven't. I swear on that one, I think on Audible, they don't have it in the UK, or they didn't have it for a long, long time. For some reason, it was shown, but you couldn't purchase it. But that's one that I do want to read to. Billy, 4 candles, sketch 4 candles, or 4 candles. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I just saw VAR just ruled out the goal, and so that's how much I am looking at the football. See, Who Moved the Stone by Frank Marison. Yeah, that's it. That sounds familiar. That's a very evidence, like who moved the stone. Ultimately, not just about the resurrection, but who moved that massive stone that was sealed and had Roman centurions in front. It's an impossibility, but it happens. So the question has to be answered: who moved that stone? So because if Jesus really resurrected, why other accounts of Rome or other civilization doesn't record it? It's a big event, right? The evidence for Jesus outside of the Gospels is huge. And I did a video years ago about this, looking for, okay, if Jesus is real and was around, whether before he died or after he died, what evidence is there? And there's a lot more than we think that there is. And so when you look into it, when you start scratching the surface, you see that there are the Roman civilization and Greek acknowledging that there was Jesus. They might not say he did this and he did that, but just acknowledging that he's a real person, that says, right, okay, he's a real person. Some say different things. I can't remember all, but it is in the video. I don't even know what it's called. And it was, I did it in my curiosity. I look younger and thinner. It'd be quite shocking. You might not want to watch it. No, watch it for the content. So, but the other thing is, Siv, is the evidence that it didn't happen as well. Because what's interesting is, if you turn it on its head, as we say here, is that Christianity started growing and it wasn't called Christianity then, but followers of the way, and all these Jewish people were starting to follow this Jesus, who they believe was the Messiah, and it was gaining a lot of traction, and what we don't have is evidence of the Jewish authorities or even the Roman authorities writing against this, like it didn't happen. And there's zero. Now you could argue that it didn't last. It didn't, it's got lost in history. But with how big Christianity was growing in the area and in other countries, you would expect that the people who opposed it would write things, and at least a tiny amount of those things would survive, those documents, and they don't. And so you don't just look for the evidence for, you look for evidence against. So as an example, if you look at the recent election in Makerfield in the UK, there's loads of stuff written for the candidates, and there's loads of stuff written by other parties against each other's candidates. It's what I'm saying, it's a natural thing that happened. You don't get one side of the story, you get other people counteracting. One political party says our candidate is amazing, and another political party says no, they did this and they don't do that, and that's a natural thing. You don't get that with Jesus. You get people saying he was resurrected, but you're not getting any evidence to say no, that never happened, unless it was such a truth that they couldn't deny it, or there was such but then you go, well, why didn't they believe? But that's a whole other thing. So that's missing. Paul Wayfair, Frank Morrison wrote Who Moved the Stone, yeah. And it is on Audible now, that's how I'm going through it. Okay, so that'll be my book for going round Europe then. That'll be my little book. It's a long book, I think. I think it's a long book. Paul Wayfair, evidence that demands a verdict by just style is good for apologetics. Yeah, I've listened to that one when I was in my curacy. Going for walks, actually. Russell Valerie, good evening, all from a hot Bournemouth. I think it's hot everywhere. I read this in France, in Paris, it's going to get to 41. And I mean, like, we think it's going to be hot, but over there it's going to be woof. So and I see you say Cold Case Christianity. That's another really good book. Cold Case Christianity is really, really good. Richard, the questions asked here are right. The resurrection is a historical question as much as a faith question. N.T. Wright is brilliant on this. See, surprised by hope and the resurrection of the Son of God. Yeah, exactly. There is, with the resurrection, even, and I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I think there's a German scholar who's an atheist who says the New Testament accounts in the Gospels are 99.2% or even more, 6, something like that. I think it's over 99% accurate as a historical record of something that was recorded that happened. And he doesn't believe, but he said the accuracy and how it has changed over time is a true writing. So what was written is a truth. So that's very good. Yeah, and then any more suggestions out there? I caught up again because it's quieter, so I'm catching up. So it's more manageable. So I talked about last week being on my bike. Talked a bit about today about being incredibly hot on my in my services, and then next week I am going to go to the ARC conference. So it's running the third one. It's interesting. Got invited to the first one. The first one's about 1,500 people, and it's really good. And the second one was good, but I didn't go to as many of the talks as I first went to the first one, but network more. And I was tossing up whether to go or not because the tickets are so expensive. But then really the networking and the getting to know people is really good, really good. So so I'm going to go there. Really, I'll listen to some of the talks, but to network with people. And that's why I sacrificed the cost of the ticket. I was thinking, but that money could go towards my trip, and it should go towards my trip. But they got an app, and you connect with people already. And I haven't been proactive, but a lot of people are connected to me, which is quite cool. So, and about meeting and chatting and making all these connections. And I made some really good connections over the past couple. So, but that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and it's really, really hot. Except for there was one problem where we have a PCC meeting on Wednesday, and I didn't realise when I booked the ticket, and so I have to come back up early on Wednesday, which is annoying because they do talks, meals in the evening with talks. So I'm going to have to sacrifice that and come back up, but it's only 30 minutes from me. So this time I can just ride on my bike down and then go there and then come back up on my bike. So that's a lot easier. So I don't need to stay down there. And I'm thinking, do I stay on Tuesday? What do I do? I might stay on Tuesday and network a bit, but you're networking all day. It's good, but it's energy draining if you're an introvert. So I need that time to recover after. So sorry, there's a box underneath my desk that was getting in my way. So where are we? Rev, Rev? One of the 12 apostles said, Thomas has his final resting place near my place, like 30 minutes travel time only. They even have his relics, I think. That could be contested because people would say that it's not, but I know that countries are very proud and areas that they think that they're there. So, but it could be evidence as well that he went out there. He was near there, even if you don't believe that he's buried there. Paul Wafer, hasn't N.T. Wright blotted his copybook about believing in the resurrection and abortion? He has, and so this is part of the difficulty about where a line is drawn, as it were. Understanding when people's views changed, and is the stuff before good? Because there can be a tendency to throw everything out. Look at Alistair Begg for saying that he would attend a gay wedding, and everything that he done. People in such uproar that everything, it was like everything, his whole life work was just nothing, and you kind of go, well, is this a developing thought that is finally changed, and where's it changed, and does that mean a lot of the really good stuff that he wrote before is now off limits, or can we? And people would have to draw their own red lines on that. There is a danger, I guess, that he was never public about some of his views, and it could have influenced some of his writings, and those writings could be you could be reading this stuff and be influenced by that. So you definitely have to be careful. But I think, like, if someone changed their views and there's a clear line and the stuff before was really good, then I think that stuff can still be used, but carefully. But also, being out in the real world, I have no idea, to be honest, what T. Wright believes now. I did at theological college where it's more appropriate, and you're reading the stuff and commenting on it. But now we're doing other things. Ashley, the biggest part that made me a believer was how many of the apostles died as martyrs. If it was false, why would you die for a lie? Exactly. and books like The Case for Christ and all that do that very well. And we're a lot of the apologetics books because it's true. Why would you die for a lie? Russell Wallaby, we had beach baptism today, but not our church. We're going to have our service and baptism next Sunday. The council made us split it over 2 weeks. Why do you have to get the council's permission? You know, why? It's the overreach. That's what I would. But 2 weeks of celebration, so 2 weeks of public witness. Maybe God will use that. So, and I'm so glad my safeguarding training is on Zoom this time, so don't have to worry about the heat travel, but still get to network. Safeguarding training. We all love safeguarding training. Are you doing the leadership one? Because the leadership one is so, it's awful. It's not even half it. I wouldn't say half, but maybe a third. It's not even safeguarding training. It's what do you call it? It's propaganda about social graces, and it's awful. It's just awful. Poor Wayfarer. Now, recently, NT Wright did make comments about abortions and women's rights. Siv, I heard some Christians don't do baptism. Is that true? There might be some that don't, in a weird way, but you wouldn't go to those denominations. I'm saying there might be some. I don't know. I don't know if any of you guys know that any denominations that don't. Some won't baptize children, but those who wouldn't baptize, I wouldn't go to those churches. Very few. And yes, the leadership will enjoy that. Richard, to clarify, Wright has said, I just got an email just come in there. Abortion might be the only thing when the mother's life is at stake, but he is pro-life. I agree with this. I am pro-life. Yes, when I think it's been proven that very few abortions are where the mother, very, very few abortions are where the mother's life is at stake. There are cases, and I know one that was in one of the churches I attended where the mother had cancer. And she had to have chemotherapy, and if she didn't have chemotherapy, she would die. Well, there's a chance that she might survive if she had it, but by having chemotherapy, the baby would definitely die. And that was a horrendous choice. In the end, they went for chemotherapy, and she didn't survive anyway. But yeah, there are, and in what, that's not an abortion, but that is along those lines. Siv, can someone be a Christian without believing in the Old Testament? Can someone pray to only Jesus and be Christian? No, you have to believe in the Old Testament. It's a whole story of God's redemption. It's the history and it's the build up, and the Old Testament points towards Jesus. It tells about the coming of Jesus. So you have to believe in the Old Testament. If you didn't believe in the Old Testament, then struggle to understand how you could be a Christian. And the second part, can someone pray to only Jesus and be a Christian? I don't understand that part. We pray to the Holy Trinity, God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So if you say, can you only pray to the second part and not to the others? Well, some people do that in one way or another. They might just think about Jesus more than God the Father or the Holy Spirit, but maybe you could explain that. Richard, Wright never speaks of women's rights. Oh, okay. I don't know what Wright speaks about now, so you guys might be more knowledgeable. But Paul Wayfair says those circumstances, according to Wright, include severe fetal deformity, the mother's mental health, and cases of rape and incest. Yeah, and so I had a friend who, lost a baby. Well, the baby would have been born and died straight away, and so it was a case of, do you want an abortion now or later. They weren't Christian, but we knew them really well. That's before I became a Christian, but that's a real ethical one as well. The baby would never be, have a life, not even a minute. And for the woman to go through the whole of the pregnancy. So that's one example. The mother's mental health. Yeah, in the case of rape and incest, which is always the question that is asked by people about abortion, which is the exception, not the rule. And as the argument goes, because why does the baby get capital punishment for something that they never did? And God bless those women who do get raped and keep their babies and raise those children. Because again, we got to admit, the other thing is that we can't just say, oh no, you can't abort that child, you must have that child, and then not have compassion of what they have to go through and how difficult that is. Because I think it's easy to say stuff, but we're not living it. They are, and they're making those difficult decisions. And not only was the child I forgot the word, but through rape, conceived through rape, but they decided to bring up that child in a timeline that they never envisaged, that they thought they'd get married and have children that way, and it all changes. So it's easy for us to say, no, you can't do that, and I agree, you can't, but we really need to have a compassion on the situation and help those people as much as possible. Richard, the Bible is a narrative from Genesis to Revelation. If you get anything out, you're not getting the whole story. Yeah. Siv, seems like Unitarian churches don't do baptism. These groups believe the sacraments are spiritual in nature and that an outward physical ritual is not required. Yeah, Unitarianism. It's funny. That was here such a long time ago. I actually put it up on my YouTube ages ago. It's called The Greatest Preacher Ever, and it's got different people who have done kind of sermons, I think 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, I think it is. And one of the guys is speaking about Unitarianism and the danger of that. And but it's really not around now. I'm not saying it's not around. I don't come across it. So that heresy is not so big. Rev, when I come to, there are lots of questions comes to my mind, but when I try to draft an email to you, nothing comes to my mind. Well, just take your time, write them down on a piece of paper. When they come to your mind, just write down those things that you're thinking of. So when you come to write an email, you're like, oh, that's it, I remember. Richard, Wright hasn't made a big statement on this. He's answered a specific question. He is clearly and obviously evangelical, but also has a pastor's heart. Dan just said more or less what Wright said. Okay, then I'm in danger of being labelled a heretic, because I've seen some things that people have said about Wright, but if you said kind of what I said, then yeah, he must be right. He is at Wycliffe Hall, which is the hall that I went to for theological training, and so they are good and they are very sound. And just an update for you here. It is hot in this room, very hot in this room, with the computer running. Father's Day. Here's my card off my cheeky son. Dad, you can still manage 90 minutes of football, so long as the sofa is comfy. Isn't that awful? He's taking the mickey out my age. So, and Father's Day. I nearly missed Father's Day in church this morning because Mothering Sunday is so connected to mother churches, and Father's Day we can miss a bit. Isn't it? We always got all the ladies are saying we need to get the flowers, we need to get the poses ready. So you're there thinking quite early about Mother's Day, but then we get to Father's Day and we're not there. Paul Wayfair, any opinions on writings of Michael Hesse, especially Unseen Realms? So he's died recently, hasn't he? And he wrote books on angels and demons. And is that the guy? I think a few years ago I listened. Did I listen or read those books? I think he's okay. He was. I think the reason why he was on cross-examined with Frank Turek, who's a big apologist over in the States, and Frank Turek is very sound, and he got him on. So I think Michael Heiser wrote a more dense volume, and then a shorter, more accessible volume, so people could read that, and if they want to go deeper, they could go. And I don't know if Unseen Realms is the denser one or the introductory one. I think the trouble is I think it's good. I can't remember it. I think I must have enjoyed the shorter one, because I think I got the bigger one but never really got round to taking all the meat out of it, if you know what I mean. So but anybody else has thoughts on him? You have to be careful now to try and understand where people are coming from and if they're any good, because it's on the internet. Oh, so many well, I said it before, so many people on the internet, and they just spout nonsense, and they're so believed and so liked, and there's some people out there's got like huge followings, and they're just not good, and you just have to trust God that they will come to light. You don't want people to be led astray, but the devil does, and that's why they do so well. Country of the world, what's your favourite form of the confession in the common worship liturgy? Wow. Even though I use common worship every week, I wouldn't know that I would have a favourite form or knowledge of one. To be honest, I would go BCP. I really enjoy the PCP, and I do that weekly as well at 8 a.m. And PCP, I was thinking actually when I was doing it, it stays the same all year round, and you get one part that would slightly change, and but the common worship does change with the seasons, and that is nice. I'm still using the books from my predecessor, and usually you change them when you come in, and we've had bigger fish to fry, so that will happen now, probably next year for me. But I can't think off the top of my head about confessions. But I do know I like the BCP because there's a bit more, direct. Sorry, I can't answer your question on that. Siv, Rev, all humans have a protector angels. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. I think that is, yeah, I think that's there biblically. I don't know where biblically, but I remember. Jago, it is my first time to read due to canonical books last week. I found them quite inspiring. Well, that's why they say in the and good on you for doing that as well. That's why they say in the I'm sitting back so I might get out of focus. Oh, I haven't got my phone connected to it, so I have to do it manually and then jump backwards. Their history. The Old Testament finishes and the New Testament starts, and suddenly we got the Pharisees. You're like, where did they come from? So if you don't read the Apocrypha, then you don't know what happened, and it is good. It is quite an interesting history. It is quite interesting. Ashley, my parents didn't get me baptized as a child. I was baptized at 24. They thought that baptism was just an excuse for the party afterwards, and it was my choice if I became religious. Good on them. Good on them. We don't see that many baptisms happening now in the church amongst children. People did do it for the party or for granny, or the belief that if the child died, it was a way for them to get into heaven and things. But the church has become so irrelevant to people's lives that doesn't happen as much. It still does in one way or another, but it's a good choice that you got baptized because you wanted to. So good on them. Richard, one of my missions in life is to spread the general confession from BCP morning and evening prayer across as many non-conformist churches as possible. You know what? I think people today, again, we're moving so far from the church and being so free in the world and so lost. I think BCP is one of the greatest weapons that we have. I think people like that order, but this is being told, and there's no doubt about what you are being told. So, yeah. Do it. Siv, any views on Wesley Huff? I think he's sound from what I see. We have to be careful. We're not going to agree on everything. Like me and my friend who's going around Europe, we really don't agree on a lot, but on the core central tenets of Christianity, we absolutely do. But he will wear his cassock and his collar a lot of the time, and I won't. I don't wear my cassock around town or the village, but he will. But we disagree on that. But so we have to be careful. Sometimes on the internet we can get a bit too what's the word I'm looking for? In our own box, and if you don't fit into that or what we think, then you're a heretic. Oh, some of the stuff. There's one on Twitter. Follow them, and some of the stuff they say is great, but they really don't like modern worship music, and I'm like, why? Because they say, well, it's not hymns, and I'm like, but hymns on an organ weren't biblical, so why would you say that's okay and then modern music isn't because it got a guitar? It's very strange sometimes, or maybe I'm misunderstanding it. Jezza, why is the Apocrypha not in the Bible? Because God stopped speaking to the Jewish people, so he just stopped. So you finish with the prophets, and he doesn't speak. So for 400 years, God withdraws, and so that's why it's not a part of God's story. They're living their own life and making their own choices without the intervention of God through the Holy Spirit or the prophets. And so when we get to the New Testament, we have Jesus coming, and so that is where God re-enters into the story. Siv, Rev, I'm really sorry. I have a hard time understanding your English since I'm not native English. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I do slur my words as well, so that's not very helpful. But on I think is on there the captions, so you can the subtitles. Hopefully that will probably have a hard time understanding my English. Hold. Still haven't decided what to call you. Polarization is a curse of our times. Yeah, massively, hugely. And for me, Wesley has been good for historical context, but I've always agreed with him on some of his Reformed Baptist explanations on you haven't agreed with him on his Reformed Baptist explanations of applications of teachings. Yeah, and that's what we got to discern. We're not all right, but is he sound? And that's why we have so many denominations. But as long as I always say, it's not a first order issue, it's not a salvational thing, it's not where it stops you getting to heaven, then that's the most important. If you disagree on a salvational, which is Jesus isn't the Son of God, or Jesus was never resurrected, or there isn't a Holy Trinity, then you cannot follow that person. But if it's something other than that, then you can agree to disagree. We're all going to get to heaven, and we'll find out not who was right, who was the closest to being right, because we're all going to be quite wrong. Siv, I had a question for a long time why Jesus said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" Recently I came to know it's from a psalm. I was mind blown. Yeah, so we're doing the Psalms as a series in our church, and we did it at the beginning of the year, and people really liked it. So after we finished Easter, we're doing that again. We're continuing with the Psalms, and the guy preaching today, he did Psalm 118, and very much linked to what Jesus was saying about the cornerstone being rejected, and how much of the Psalms are quoted in the New Testament and known. It is quite amazing. When you get into this, it's quite amazing. Richard, I grew up in the Evangelical Church of England in the 70s and 80s. We used the BTP all the time. It was the main buttress of evangelicalism against liberalism and Anglo-Catholicism. The BBC is wonderfully evangelical. And it's quite interesting because my friend who is Anglo-Catholic, he would say it's not just evangelical. He thinks it's very Anglo-Catholic. I don't understand why we haven't got into that conversation deeply. We will as we go around Europe, but that would be an interesting conversation, because it was a response to Rome, wasn't it? Look at the 39 articles with it. Nick, thoughts on the US and England having a possible rematch in the World Cup on July the 4th, possibly in Philadelphia on the 250th anniversary of the independence, no less. I think what we should do for fun, if that happens, is double or quits, like on the American side. Like, if they win, they can take over the whole of the United Kingdom and have that in the States. Or if they lose, then we take it back and it can be part of England. Oh, that would make it so much more fun, wouldn't it? Double or quits. Did you used to do that? I think a lot of people did that. You lose and you immediately go double or quits, thinking that you're going to double, and more likely you would have to quit. Jago, my friend, interested in archaeology of the Bible, and her church fellow recommended Wesley Huff to her. There is no similar perspective in Hong Kong, and I think it is good to have to know more. I think, Siv, that's for your knowledge as well, is the archaeology of the Bible. That will blow you away. All these things that the Bible talked about, and they're finding it in archaeology, and they're finding it in the ground. And so, but Wesley Huff is very intelligent, and he is also a very good communicator. He did that well on Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, explaining how and not watering it down. And then John Lennox following it up a couple of weeks ago was also very good. But John Lennox is very, very, very good. He taught when I was at Wycliffe Hall, 1 or 2 classes, and that man is so intelligent. And not just being so intelligent, he's a very good communicator. Richard, my old bugbear, Dan, not heaven, but new creation. Earth will be redeemed and renewed and joined with heaven. We also have resurrection bodies to live there. Yes, but when we die, we do go to heaven, like a heaven, not purgatory, but a heaven waiting room, until creation is renewed. So I agree with you. But we will be in heaven with Jesus before creation is renewed. But it's good to have a bugbear. It's good to have a bugbear. Because you're right, we're too easily slip and say heaven. And theologically that's wrong. So well done. Keep us. I'm leaning in now, and I see that I'm out of focus. I would put my camera on autofocus, but my camera's old now, and these cameras, when they came out, were really good. Still really good. But the autofocus on them was not quite right, so I just leave it on manual focus. But that means if I lean in too far, I get out of focus, and if I go too far back, I have to hit the sweet spot, which can be a nightmare. So where were we? Where was I? Richard, the Anglican Catholics have add things to the BCP to fit in with an Anglican thinking. Well, that's a conversation we'll have. Well, I suppose it depends on which version. We use the 1662, but there are different versions we have to take into account. Kim, what's your favourite book, not the Bible, and why? Favourite Christian book, as I always say, is Pilgrim's Progress. Why? Because when I didn't read it, I listened to it. I was blown away. That the cross didn't happen straight away. That there was the journey to the cross. And then there was a whole journey after. And he kept losing his way. And it's a fight. It's a fight to get to heaven. It tells us it's not easy to live all the way through our lives just on that straight path. And there's so many things to take us off. And I love that. I just love the reality of that. And that's why it's my favorite book. My favorite book would be that one. And I would love to have the recall that West Half has. That's not my gifting. I know. You know what the funny thing? And I've been sitting here tonight going, well, I remembered a lot of names, and I'm quoting a lot. I don't know why. And maybe because I haven't got a beer in front of me. Maybe that's the case. But I'd love to have that recall, but it isn't my gifting. But here's the thing that I've learned. Because I can't remember things. So if you ask me on Tuesday what I preached on Sunday, I would really struggle to recall. I recall the main points, but not details at all. I always see things afresh, and I always have to learn things afresh. I can't, and I've said this many times before, I do not know verses of the Bible. I live by concepts. I have to constantly always look at things. I just cannot retain that amount of information. But I don't see it as a bad thing, because it's who I am. And so I always have to keep reminding myself and learning. So it keeps things fresher. Paul Wayfarer, so Anglo-Catholics are almost Anglo-Papists who reject the PCP, which is sad. Well, you know, it's funny when you get into it. So my friend, I think we was at his house, and we was chatting, and he said he knows because of Vatican II. So his wife's a Catholic, which is quite funny. And he's an Anglo-Catholic Church of England priest. So technically she doesn't believe that he's actually a priest, because he's not Catholic. And so somebody he knows went off to Rome and then came back from Rome because he was real old-fashioned. And because of Vatican II, Vatican II sought to modernize the Catholic Church, and it brought the services down, kind of like, in a sense, from BCP to come and worship type thing, put it in Anglican language. And so he went over to Rome and realized it was all modern, and he didn't like it. He actually came back to the Church of England, because when Vatican II happened and the Church of England were like Anglo-Papists, well, Vatican II happened and they came down, and the Church of England, Anglo-Catholic Papists, went, well, we're not part of the Catholic Church, so we can still worship the way we were. So yeah, in some parts of the Church of England, they're more Catholic than the Catholics. And it's funny when he said, like, he went over to Rome when it's too modern and then came back. So, Siv, one funny thing I read is the Hebrews saw miracles, Red Sea, splitting of ocean. Still, those people started worshipping a Dan calf. It felt so funny. Yeah, I mean, that's the, Siv, that's the, going back to the question about which my favorite book, because you can see all these miracles, and we'll see miracles in our life. They might not feel like miracles, but they are miracles. And then go off and worship a Dan calf, or a version of that. And you kind of think, well, how could you forget that time God worked in your life so easily as a devil, you know? And it's us as well. We battle the world, the flesh, and the devil. HRLD, still haven't worked it out. I should write this down and work out. Dan, I wonder if your Anglo-Catholic friend knows the work of Barbara Pym, the English novelist. AC clergy feature extensively in her book. I'll text him, and hopefully he'll text back by the end of the so do you know Barbara? I got to word that better, haven't I? Because that sounds like do you know this lady? So she's the okay, the, I'm going to put where you put English novelist. So what happens if he does? Anglican AC clergy feature extensively in a book. Oh, is she like a non-fiction writer? A fiction writer, sorry, a fiction writer. And includes them. Jago, another pastor YouTube recommend Pilgrim's Progress is the best non-biblical book as well. I follow his recommendation and read it. It's very sounding, you know, and to think that John Bunyan wrote it from a prison cell, you know, for being a nonconformist against the Church of England. So good on him, because he wrote the the book that I love, Christian book. Le MFF, le MCF. I think there is a blessing on John Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress. Yeah, and it really is. There really is. Richard, 1662 is the only book of common prayer. Other inferior prayer books are available. Well, when we advertise 1662, Book of Common Prayer. Still 0-0 between Belgium and Iran. I wouldn't have predicted that. But then I wouldn't have predicted Ecuador, Curacao. 0-0. That was, I watched the highlights of that. That was amazing. Ashley, I often wonder why we as Anglicans have a corporate confession in services and Catholics have individual private confession. Can Anglicans receive an individual confession and penance as Catholics do? I think they do have a corporate confession in their Eucharist service. I can only imagine that they do. But in Anglo-Catholic services. So my friend, my Anglo-Catholic friend, he does listen to confession. I don't listen to confession, but he does. So yes, in the Church of England, you can have individual confession. Siv, Rev, does anyone in your circle have seen Jesus? Like some people saw Jesus when they were in a coma or in the end times in bed. And what's any views on stigmata and Eucharist miracles? I don't think anyone I know would claim to have seen Jesus. I'm not quite sure in that way. I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in one way. I'm not sure. But stigmata and Eucharist miracles. Well, I'm not the type of person to deny that God can't use things. Because he's a God who created the whole universe, and the universe is his. And so he could, if he wanted to, I could have stigmata right now if he willed it, not my choice, but his. And in the Eucharist as well, where things happen, that's God's doing. We live in a skeptical world, and I would be skeptical. So I would want to see proof that it was a miracle. So yes, I wouldn't deny that stigmata and Eucharist miracles, that they wouldn't happen. I think they could happen because it's God's world. Lee MCF. I might add William Penn's No Cross, No Crown book is well worth a read. Similar to Bunyan, he served time in prison. That's right, Lee MCF. Great. Le MCF. It's kind of, I've got a French vibe, but that might just be me. I want to say le. But then I'd say MCF in an English voice. I'll have a look at that. I never actually heard that, but No Cross, No Crown. That's a great title. That is a great title. My friend hasn't texted me. He got given this, and I've never seen it, and you probably have, so forgive me. And it's not going to come up on my screen just because I'm going to have to read it because it's on my phone. I took a picture of it, and it is too far away. You might see it. No, it's in the cellophane still. It says, I love this. The fact that there's a highway to hell and only a stairway to heaven says a lot about anticipated traffic numbers. Those things, they just please my mind. How you can take these songs and use them so simply in a way to engage with people, and it does absolutely engage with people. A highway to hell, but a stairway to heaven. I love it. I love it. My simple mind, but God made me this way, so that's good. Paul Wayfair. Peter and disciples saw Jesus perform miracles and still doubted. Peter on the water. Yeah, exactly. So we would need to, it's kind of proof, and Peter's slightly different on the water. So my friend just texted me. He don't think so. I was asked on my live stream. Mr. Baker, no whiskey, no cigar. Not as good as No Cross, No Crown. Yeah, but that's still good. It's like the secular version of No Cross, No Crown, isn't it? No whiskey, no cigar. So again, those things please me. So what else? No, I've caught up again. I've caught up. It's only 9:22, and I've caught up on the chat. So I spoke about last week. I slightly spoke about today, and I spoke about the conference. I haven't spoken about. I will get back to chat because I did go. If you want, I need to find it. I haven't promoted it, so I need an assistant. I need a manager who promotes stuff for me. I'm the least promoter. God promotes stuff for me. I even forgot the website. Basically, I was going to talk about my Rev Dan Day, which is coming up on Saturday, and I need to get that sorted. And I'm trying to look for the link to put it in the chat. If you want, tickets have been going, which is great. So if you wanted to come and meet me in my parish, let's see if this works. You can, and it's free. And you even get parking if you want. I need to send an email about that at the rectory, which has been cut. The front has been cut on Saturday. We had people come, so convince the church to pay, because it is the outward facing part of the church as well, where I live, and people walk past and it looks awful because I cannot keep on top of. It's a big plot of land I'm on, the front and the back. So they came and they kind of gave it like a crew cut. That's the only way I could describe it. Crew cut before then it can start being managed properly. And so it was looking awful. Richard, my wife is Catholic and they have corporate confession at Mass. In the Latin Mass, everyone beats their chest as they say, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. Very dramatic in a good way. Yeah, that's quite cool, isn't it? That is a basically, there is some things that, not to dismiss them, there is a physical thing that we don't really have in church. So if I, oh, sorry, that was very close on the football, very dramatic. So as I do communion, some people put their hands out to receive and some people want to take. And I've had to say to people, you're receiving Jesus, you're not taking him. There's a massive difference, and that's important in our posture. And that, in a way, that is a physical reminder of, and a reinforcement of, we are sinful, it's our fault. So yeah, I wouldn't dismiss that. I probably wouldn't do it myself. But those things are good. Mr. Baker, goodness me, it was hot work playing village cricket this hour. Yeah, I agree. I was watching my son playing American football and it was hot out in those fields. The trouble with those fields are there's no cover. So good on you. Did you win? That's the key. I think Belgium are going to score. I keep seeing the red attacking to the left-hand side. Paul Wayfair, in the BCP 1662, does it say if a particular sin is weighing on you, then it recommends talking to a priest? I haven't read it all the way through. I don't think it does, but it might. I wouldn't know. I haven't read it. There's some services that we just don't do in there. I don't think so. Well, in the rubrics, in parts of the communion that we don't say, the old one when they say next Sunday we'll be having communion and you got to be right before God, and so there is a kind of form of that. I don't know the exact words because we never read them nowadays, but there is, like, you can't receive communion if you're not right. So there, I would say yes to that. Siv, I wish I could meet you, Rev, but I'm in India. I know. But we can be here on this thing. Mr. Baker, I'd love to, but I need to check my calendar. Well, it's Saturday, 10 till 3, 4. See how we get on. See if it's hot. See if what you call it. Oh, the other thing that I've done is I turned off adverts. I hope you noticed that. It came up and it said adverts, and I said, I'm not going to do adverts today. I'm not. I'm already Rich, my mouse has just run out of battery. So I need my wire. Sorry. If I don't, I'll be stuck on that last question for the rest of the night. And in fact, I'll be live streaming for the rest of the night because I won't be able to press end. So, all right. The drama. There we go. Back in the game. Back in the game. Russell Valerie. Oh, now I get an email through. My emails come up. Bad design. But the emails where the chat is. Russell Valerie. Our bell is working a lot better now. It's been oiled and the fixture has been tightened. There you go. The whole bell. We got 8 bells. We got 8 bells in our church. It was a lot. They put 2 extra in the last, I think, 20, 30 years, perhaps, maybe a bit longer. It used to have 6, and 6 was a good number. Siv, heard Mother Teresa once said, receiving communion in hands are the biggest sin. Well, Catholic, yeah, straight in the mouth. Straight in the mouth. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people who are Catholic who come to church, they're there and they put their mouth forward. So if that's the case, I will put it in their mouth. I've got no problem with that. All I've ever known really is receiving. So I wonder why they do that. Catholics, why do you not touch it? Why would it be a big sin to touch it? Because Jesus, and it's coming from the priest. It's that theology, isn't it? Yeah. Siv, Rev, are you sweating for real? I might have a slight glaze because it's hot now in this room. I did say I'll get redder and redder as the night went on because this room is really well insulated. The computer blows all the hot air out and no windows are open. And so it's getting hot. But the good thing is when I finish this and I go out that door, oh, you can't see that door. That door. That's my entrance door. I will be very cold because it'd be very cold out there. Russell Valerie, next challenge is to install a new hearing loop. Some want it put under the old heating grates, but I'm pretty sure it won't work well. No, I think it literally has to be around the outside, doesn't it? I'm not an expert on this, but I assume it needs to be around the outside. I think you need to be inside it. But there you go. I'm surprised you haven't got a hearing loop already, because they've been around for quite a while. Mr. Baker, we won the cricket. Michael and Bold removed the danger man. Wow, there we go. Are you a fast-paced bowler? Are you a spinner? What type of bowler are you? Russell Wallaby, my 30-meter tape broke and I had to find 15-meter back in my hand. Oh dear. Han's here, everyone. Han is in the house. Han's just woken up. He's cleaned his teeth. He's got the sleep out of his eyes, and he's here. And you don't need to be sorry. You've just woken up. In fact, none of us will be awake at what time is it? 4:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30. I was awake at 5:30 this morning though. But that's more exception rather than rule. Mr. Baker, this Saturday. Okay, I'll check. Mr. Baker, we have 8 bells for full circle ringing and an Angelus bell installed relatively recently. Russell Wallaby, did I ever get the email you sent me last Sunday about the chauffeur? Yes, I did. get your email finally on your 4th attempt. No, it did go to my spam folder, and I just got it, and I haven't actioned it, and I meant to earlier to action it for this, but I didn't. So what I'll do is I'll action it for next week, because I need to set it up. So next week I will get it done. Boy Wayfarer, horses sweat, men perspire, and women glow. I love that, actually. Men perspire, I'm perspiring, and women glow. That's very cool. And actually had late evening service at church, so not too sleepy. What time is it? It must be early hours. HT, the Lord bless you, Brother Dan. I pray regularly for the UK, its peace and its Christian revival. Well, keep praying. Thank you for your prayers. We muchly appreciate it. There's a lot, in a sense, happening here. But as I always say, God's on his throne. He's in control. We just need to stay faithful to our calling and speak to the people in front of us. Mr. Baker, I'm a leg spinner like the late, great Shane Warne was. So I'm understanding. I used to play cricket but I hope it's a comparison. No, I hope it's an example rather than a comparison. Sib's loving it. Cricket. Well, cricket's huge in India. So that's good. So what else was gonna in the calm? We go on our trip at the end of July. I think I don't even know. This is awful, isn't it? I don't know when I go on my sabbatical. Does anyone know when I go on my sabbatical? I can't work it out. The thing is, people saying when you're going on your sabbatical, and I say I'm not quite sure. The reason is my sabbatical is quite far away, and there's so much to do before. So 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, 4 Sundays left before my sabbatical starts. And then on the 23rd of July, I'll be going round Europe. So, but then you can follow me on my social media, which I have started to put little pictures up. I have started. I know I said that I would start like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, but I have started. So, Mr. Baker, cricket is a great analogy and opportunity for an exposition of a good way to live life. Jesus would be a great umpire. Yeah. Googly. That would be used quite a lot, wouldn't it? A googly. In our simple ways. Psalm 125. Please forgive me, Dan and everyone. I've not been active in this chat as I realise I'm more affected by the charity mentioned earlier. Psalm 125. Look, I had news that rocked me a bit this morning before my service, and I remember someone saying to me, the choir director, I just need to speak about this hymn. And she was speaking, and I was like not in a good place. I needed a process, and I said, sorry, give me a second. I just got some news. It's thrown me, and I need to get my headspace to listen. But it's still, I was in the service, think about this thing. So you need to process. It's important to process. So don't worry about the chat. You need to think about how you get through and understand this. So don't worry about that at all. And we'll be praying for you and praying for that situation. Paul Wayfarer, Warney may not be the best character role model, but he was a really good bowler. He's a really good bowler. But anyway, we all fall short of the glory of Christ or God. Pastor Valerie, we had a priest from Ukraine speaking at church this morning whilst he was visiting his daughter and meeting his grandchild for the first time. Please keep Ukraine in your prayers, people. Yeah, we need to keep the whole situation. Both sides. You know, there are people being taken off the streets on both sides and forced into a war that they have not chosen to fight in and are inexperienced. It's horrendous. Mr. Baker, yep. Speak about warning. So while I'm away for 6 Sundays, I think most people would be on holiday anyway. It could be that 1 or 2 Sundays for a short time, depending when we are, if we got signal and stuff, I pop on. It'd be 9 o'clock. Might do. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Keep a lookout if I put a notification that I'm going to do a short live stream to update you on how it's going. But I will be on my social medias doing it. We'll be putting stuff out. But it'll be very exciting. We are very excited. And if you do follow social medias, so at the moment I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm on a lot more, to be honest. It's just those are the main ones, and it's easier to post to those 3. And I should actually know, one thing I keep forgetting to do, and I'll do this, is post to YouTube, because if you're subscribed, that goes straight there. So, and keep updated about where we're going and what we're doing. So I think 19th of July might be final live stream, but it might even be the week before, because that is my last weekend with my family. But it could be that I don't do it at 8 o'clock. It could be at 9 o'clock. my wife and child are always, well, I've got 2 kids, but the younger one is always in bed ready for school tomorrow, whereas my son has finished his A-levels. Oh, when did that happen? Ashley, I need to get my bike license, although I don't think a Lambretta would get me through a tour of Europe. I tell you what, Ashley, there's been people who have gone on like scooters and 125s all the way down to Africa, South Africa. So yeah, packing it would be interesting. The amount of stuff that I pack on my bike is funny, because it was me being silly, really. When you pack stuff on your bike, obviously the suspension goes down, and on a bike you got a side stand. And so if I got my bike like this, and I normally without the weight on there, I put the side stand down, it goes to that, like, I'm going to overemphasize it for this illustration. It goes to an angle like this, but because the weight is down, and when you put the side stand down, instead of going like that, it goes like this. So then I have to get on the bike, and I can't get on the bike normally because there's a big bag on the back seat. So I have to stand on the peg and stand on the bike and put my leg over, which is really easy. But then the bike feels like it's going to topple over the opposite way to where you are. Oh, your heart's in your mouth sometimes, because it depends on the camber of the road that you are, because not all roads are perfectly flat. Some are, you know, if you're on a hill or the side of the road as it curves off, if you have to stop, so heart and mouth. I have to get used to that. So, but I will. But maybe a Lambretta would have been easier, because then I just take less stuff around, and also less nickable. No, I'm not saying they're not less nickable, but the bikes that we got tend to get nicked. So much advice. Rev Dan, again, please forgive me. I'm sadly unable to come on Saturday now. I have a good reason, but I'm nonetheless very disappointed. Don't worry, it's expected, because people book tickets and things change, so people couldn't come last. It's fine. Don't worry. do one in the future potentially. It's just, I always take it, whoever's there is there. You know, it's not about numbers. Don't need an ego for that. Because I always find no matter how big the group is and who's there, you have a really good time anyway. So, could you imagine living your life by numbers and ego? And that'd be, you know, on YouTube at the moment, that they're literally saying it's not about subscribers anymore. And that's the whole metric that people measure you on YouTube. How many just subscribers do you have? And it's not about subscribers. For YouTube, it's about how many people watch you and the time that they watch you. YouTube basically want people to watch YouTube 24 hours a day. So the more that people watch you and spend time watching you, that's what they like. They don't care about subscribers, because you can have like a viral video which does really well and people love it and they subscribe, because it's a natural thing to click the subscribe button, or people say subscribe, and then those people never engage with you after. So it looks like you've got a load of followers, but behind the scenes, though, YouTube is saying, well, this channel isn't that good because people are really not watching. The one thing that is good for YouTube actually is a slow growth. Well, no, viral videos can work and they can bring a lot of people in. It's if they continue to engage with you, that it isn't just a viral video. And the drop off, and there'll always be drop off, isn't too big. In fact, viral videos can be the death of a channel. Sometimes you just don't want to get, it might feel like you want to get one, but sometimes if you don't follow up well, or people don't engage with you, then your channel's over. Slow and steady is actually wins the race now on YouTube. And YouTube's got AI on the analytics, and like 6-8 weeks ago, I was asking it, what's my channel like and what's this, and gaining that information. And it said your loyalty is really high and are well above average. So the people who subscribe to my channel, a huge proportion. And when I talk about huge, I don't know if it's like 25% or something, which is actually really big in YouTube standards. Return and watch my videos. And YouTube's like, spot on. What you're doing is spot on. The trouble is now I'm not doing any videos at the moment. So I'm ruining everything that they would tell you to do. I'm not doing. So I got to get back on the videos. But to be honest, it's good to have a break. If you don't need to say anything, you don't need to say anything. And the news at the moment is pretty horrendous. And I've got to think about that. And the church stuff. Oh, God. Let's bring some love and joy into it. Moan. That's what I could turn into. But yeah, I don't want to be a moaning. I want to inform, but I don't want to be a moaning negative all the time. Negative. Mr. Baker, I'm going to catch on this. Did Warney go out and Liz Hurley for a while? Wow. That's batting above his average. So, you guys are listening very well. I'm filling in my time. I think I ran out of all the things I was going to say. Remember when I first started this, I used to have topics. And now we just go through and I react to what's going through and the questions. And then we build a topic. But come on, Han. Come and rescue me. Han, you must have a question. If you're there. Come on, Han. Or ask me anything and I'll see if I can answer. So I'm literally getting a blank here. Okay. Or are you teaming up against me? That's it. You are on the phone to each other and saying, let's see how he copes. Let's see how I could do a silent one. So what else is there? There we go, Han. Thank you. The funny thing is, as you noticed on this, I can speak for England. So when I'm running out, I must be tired. And pardon to ask Rev Dan, but in your opinion, do you feel YouTube will be a necessary tool for Christian evangelism and biblical theology teaching for the long term due to current cultural climate. I think YouTube is a really good tool in the hands of the right people, and a really dangerous tool in the hands of the wrong people. Like I said before, I there's people that I know out there, or I've researched out there, who are utterly dangerous and got huge followings, and people are blind to that, and that's really sad. But I believe that one day that God will show them for who they are. But it's a shame that happens, but we are fighting the devil in that. So, but on the positive side, when you do get really good people like Mike Winger now, past 1 million subscribers on teaching the Bible and helping people think biblically. And that's such a huge win. That's a really good thing. And he does long form videos on teaching, and people are really watching his content, and it's really, good that that's happening. So I think for people, for evangelism and people searching from the church and about the church or about Christianity and don't want to go to church or don't know who to trust, the YouTube is good. It just depends on who they find, and that's a lucky dip sometimes. Mr. Baker, I need to pick up one of the kidults from the station now. Well, if they're kidult, they should be able to go and drive themselves now. Get a taxi. Poor Wayfair, I watch Anglican and Scripted. They are good for news. Yeah, I used to watch them, but I think just doing it's like a busman's holiday, isn't it? You're doing the same thing. So I don't watch anybody else now who did what I was doing. I didn't find it beneficial in one way, but it's not that I don't like them. It's just what they say is different version what I would say, or covering the same news. My time is better spent, is probably what I'm saying, rather than regurgitating hearing them say a different version of what I was saying. Russell Valerie, we all need a lot more joy in our lives right now. We do. And that's one thing that I've been thinking about. And sometimes times away are good to do that. And find the joy. And find the joy in our lives. Sometimes you have to step away from social media. It's just sometimes the Christian, non-Christians with the doom and gloom and all this about what's going on is, they haven't got a worldview that helps them understand that. But with Christians, I do go, why so much despair when we got the greatest hope of the world? Why aren't we really telling people? We can speak more about the despair than about the hope. It's true, isn't it? Christians can linger too much on the despair and not really. I'm not saying that they don't speak about hope. It's just an add-on sometimes. Ashley, definitely need a Lambretta. We are all mods. They're mods and rockers. And Mike Winger does seem very openly ecumenical to a lot of denominations right now. I think one of the big things that we as you do YouTube and are open to God and to listening and listen to others who don't agree with you or might have a different point of view, it helps us grow, because I am not right on everything. I do study a lot and try to understand a lot and come to a settled understanding on different aspects of theology, and I'm pretty comfortable with a lot of stuff, but also I'm not right on all of it, and there's a lot of information that I don't know. So I might be right in my understanding now, but when I get new information from a trusted source, it's going to help me to either go, wow, that's a really good argument, yeah, okay, I might need to change what I think. And I think people like Mike Winger, who has done that, and he does listen as well. Paul Wayfair, what's the male to female ratio like in your church? I go to an Anglican Catholic church. They have a slow service, and it's a lot more men. In my church, there's a lot more women. A lot more women. There's still a good few men in there. Oh, I'm trying to think now. I wouldn't. It's funny. Would I make a guess on it? 70-30? Between 60-40 and 70-30? Would that be right? Yeah, I think so. Maybe towards the higher end. 65, split the difference, 65-35, maybe. We haven't looked at that. We've never looked at that as a metric. Probably because it's not important. But we do know that men are missing in church, so it is important. Yeah, more women. A lot more women. Russell Rudderby, probably more women than men in our church, but never counted. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Never counted. Han, what's your take on Christians on ecumenism wise as a more fundamental stance type? Would say being ecumenical leads to unbiblical and ungodly ties with non-Christians. I think ecumenically in churches where there's different denominations, we need to make sure that we believe the same core doctrines of the church, the fundamentals. If we don't agree on those, then we're not working together. If you're doing same-sex marriage in your church and things, that's not, there's no relationship there until you change that way. So that's what we got to be careful of, and understanding how we can work together and agree to disagree on some of the other issues that were there. You could take the well-known one, like the Baptists won't baptize children. It's a believer's baptism, and where Anglicans will baptize children, as an example. So how do we work past those and work together? But I do think it's really important that we do work together now, because we are fighting within our own denominations for orthodoxy, but also a lot smaller churches. And so resource and working together helps us get the gospel out there. So I don't think it makes us less biblical and less ungodly. You wouldn't have non-Christians there, but you need to make sure that we are all orthodox within that ecumenical work, which is, I know it's happening in my area. And you have to do that, unfortunately. It's not like that you don't want to work with these people. Some people that you've known for a long time and you like them as people, but you just disagree on their theology, but you have to make a stance. Paul Wayfair, stats say if the father goes to church, there's a higher chance children will continue in the faith. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is a key, a massive key. But that's where we are losing in church in one way or another, is the men in church just aren't there, but the women are. But the one thing that we do is to pray, pray for those spouses who've got husbands who are not coming to church. Usually they're older as well. So, and it's engaging with the younger people. But I think, like Han said earlier with that question about YouTube, there's a way to engage with younger people now. And that's what we hope. And going back to the devil again, the devil knows that statistic as well. So he will always keep the men away from church as much as possible. And thanks for the clarification, Rev Dan, because whenever you're usually hearing about ecumenical or ecumenism, it's a worry about the woke LGBT or work in religious partnership with Mormons and Muslims. Yeah. Well, Mormons don't believe. They're not Christian, and there are. It's checking theology and making sure. Russell Valerie, we had a guest guitarist in our worship band last week. At least 4 eyebrows were raised that he was using a rainbow strap on his guitar. Did you count the colours? That's what I do. Because there's a danger, isn't there, that we see it and we immediately now that's because I do it. I see it and I go count the colours. And when there's 7, I'm happy. But we're losing the rainbow. We're losing the rainbow because it isn't necessarily, by calling it a rainbow flag, we're losing a biblical term to that progressive idea, and we lose the hope of that rainbow and the promise of that rainbow. But did you count the colours? I once online had an argument with the head teacher of a school. It's quite sad, of a Facebook post. I don't know if I put it up or I commented on someone's, and I think I put count the colours, and he said it doesn't matter if it's 6 or 7, it's hours. And I was like, no, it's fundamentally different. Like one's Christian and one isn't. I don't think they appreciated that, but that's the truth. That's the truth. And heard a lot of old school fundamentalists won't like guitars at all. Yeah, but they're like, as I said earlier, Han, before you got on, they're like organs, but I don't see any organs in the Bible. We don't see any, there were hymns, a lot of hymns in the part of Psalms, but not organs. But they accept an organ, but they don't like guitars. But God's a creative God, and we will have all these instruments. I think the best thing for a church is to have not only an organ, but piano, guitar, oboe, flute, drums, all of it, an orchestra, because that's the type of God that we have, a creative God. 1 minute to go, and so close. Budget got a player sent off. Nick, sorry for not tuning in for a while. Work has been the same. Found a lovely parish to attend here in upstate New York that is run by the Institute of Christ the King. They do a lovely high Latin mass. Wow. Is that a Catholic church? No, an Institute of Christ the King. Is that an independent or Catholic? Russell Rellery, yep, the devil has stolen a lot of good things. Yeah, he's very good at doing that. It's 1:10. Where is I gotta go all the way back. It's Zoe always tells me she's not here tonight, is she? Time check. And Francis hello just arrived. Hello Francis, just so I was gonna sign off. But you can go back to the beginning and start. Hey, didn't say, but no video issues, none, because I went and had words with my program, and the program listened to me, and so it's fixed and had no issues because it says stream strength excellent all the way through without the nightmare of last week. Russell Valerie, not sure how many colours, but definitely didn't have the extra one. Yeah, dear. Nick, yes, Catholic Church, fully in communion with Rome. They have dispensation to say the Latin Mass exclusively. Oh, wow. Do you understand it? That's the big thing. Do you understand the Latin? Han, sorry if it's too late to ask one last question. How would you help a Christian who says she never goes to church at all? I did a video of that. Can I be a Christian and not go to church? Because people do say that. And I believe you just can't. If you're really, truly living your Christian life for the glory of God, using all the gifts and talents and bringing hope to people and help to people in their time of need. You can worship by yourself. Don't deny that. You can praise the Lord, put some songs on, do it in your house, and that's all very nice. But there's also a need and a want to worship with your brothers and sisters, and that's in a place of a gathering we know as church. And so you would just want to go and tell brothers and sisters and encourage them, hey, this is what happened to me this week when I was like working for God. And they go, yeah, this is what happened to me. And it's like, oh, praise the Lord. That's such a great story. And praise the Lord. And let's worship God. And, church like that. Wow. That's a church to go to, right? And so how can you live your life as a Christian without naturally having that response? I just can't see it. Plus, you need to be around brothers and sisters, and the old men one, iron sharpens iron. But across the church, it does as well. And go back to talk about theology and things like that. It's a place where we get to ask those questions and make sure, and also to pray for each other and to just be with others who are like-minded. It's a place of sanctuary outside the craziness of the world, where the world feels like it's falling apart. You can go and just be with your brothers and sisters and God and corporately. So, yeah. Francis, or because I wasn't here. Did I miss something? Russell, maybe because you have no ads. I have no ads this time. Nick, I picked up most of the regular responses easily enough. Helps to have my hand missile to reference whenever I need to. And growing up and looking at the social media content, there seems to be a large amount of non-church going professing Christians. I just don't get it. And that's not because I'm a church leader. It just doesn't make sense. And where people go, oh, but we do house church and stuff like that. Well, fine. That's the way a lot of churches start. But then you do a house church and then it gets successful and lots of people come in and you go, we can't fit in our house. We'll have to go to someone else's house because we've got more people. And then you go to somebody else's house because they've got a bigger house and then more people come. And then you go, well, we have to go to the local village hall and rent that. And then you have to start putting out chairs and start to have processes. And then you outgrow the village hall and you go, well, we can't keep doing this setting up every Sunday morning. Let's buy a place. And then the insurances come in and the health and safety. And then you have like a church like we have, like everyone has to cope with. So, I always go, house churches, yes, they started and they developed. They always miss the development of churches growing and the practicality. But I still don't get how you can not go to church and worship God corporately with your brothers and sisters in such a way. And communion is huge. In Acts, we got pray and hear the scriptures and be with our brothers and sisters, receive communion. Look what the early church was doing and the commands that the apostles gave us. First of all, I sung the Latin Mass in Voces 8's music, even though I don't understand most of it. Check out the Northern Lights. Are they out? I'll go have a look here. Do we get the Northern Lights in the south of England? I'm joking, because you're in Bournemouth and you can see them. I'll have a look. Just Beautiful brings you to tears. Yes, I agree, Rev Dan. Actual church gathering, be it building or hall somewhere in person right now, is far more critical and crucial right now than previously due to the open spiritual darkness. Exactly. And where do you know that there isn't drift? Apart from when you come up and say, oh, I saw this thing on YouTube the other day and it was wonderful. And this person said this. And then you get people going, that's bad. No. So, yeah. Ashley, can we all pray for our clergy? They are often overstretched and need of our prayers. And I tell you what, being clergy and knowing other clergy. Some of the stuff that as clergy go through that you will never know, that rightly or wrongly, that we just can't tell you, that takes its toll, is crazy. We have the hope of Christ in our lives, but you definitely, thank you, Ashley. We definitely need to pray for clergy, because the ones who are more out there, the ones who are for Jesus and on fire for Jesus, are facing such attack on the devil and those who don't yet know Jesus and are misinformed. And we just have to kind of take it on the chin. But we need prayer. Russell Valerie just changed a meter in a UR chapel in Weymouth last week. Sadly, it's closing down. But United Reformed are away from the Bible. That's one of the reasons. Paul Wayfarer, I think Christianity is not a solo spiritual religion. Yep. Russell Valerie, it's a song, not the aura. Oh, it's a song, not the aura. Right. I was going to be going out. Oh, I was going to be going out looking at the sky going, well, this is very disappointing. This is very disappointing. Thank you for the clarification. I didn't realise. Nick, found an American country song you may like. It's a bit Pentecostal, but I relatively enjoy it. It's called Way of the Triune God by Tyler Childers. I like that music. In fact, I had that type of music on in the car after my son played his American football game, because they didn't just Google searching that, they didn't win. And again, they really wanted to win, and he was very frustrated for one or two reasons. So I said, I put the music on in the car because the car was hot, so I got in there to cool it down and put that music on and said, I put this on now so you can't be frustrated because God's here, because he's there anyway. John B, praying for England to come home back to the Catholic faith. King Henry VIII was a fraud and tyrant. That's a big statement. It wasn't really King Henry VIII. Go study a bit. It was the English Reformation. It was already happening in Europe. It would have come anyway, and the Church of England came through Henry VIII's son. Henry VIII stayed Catholic. Yes, he did start, but he was always Catholic. It was Edward VI that really established the Protestant Church of England. And then remember, we had Bloody Mary, who was a Catholic, so it did go back Catholic, and then it went back Protestant. It was a long drawn out thing, but under the under Elizabeth I and James VI, Scotland, first of England, is that right round, confirmed it. So there's a little history lesson. Ham, pardon to ask, is clergy referring to priests and bishops, or does it include every worker in the church as well? Clergy are priests. Bishops are bishops. Clergy are priests. So when we say the clergy, we're talking about those on the front line. And boy, wayfarer, we got a last minute RC stirrer. I think it's this one. We get one all the time, don't we? But at least he's on here listening to some Christian stuff. If he's not, and if he is, then yeah, that's it. He's going to get prayer now, because it is late and I have to go back to see exactly what the story was at the start. Where was the story for the people who? Oh, it's not in an area. Okay, from Psalm 125, there's 3 people who died. So let's just pray for them quickly. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this chat tonight. We thank you for this little community. We thank you for the questions that we can ask and the answers. I pray, Lord, that they're empowered by your Holy Spirit. We just pray for this fire last night that claimed the lives of these 3 squatters. We pray for their family and their friends who are going to learn this devastating news. Pray that they did know you, And we pray for all those who are affected, and we pray for Psalm 125 as she processes this, as many people do. Be with them and give them your peace. Amen. So that's it. Thank you for staying with me. Me riding on the motorbike for over 3.5 hours means I can't sit for a long time, and I sat for a long time. So I got a sore posterior, unfortunately, but that's training. I'm building myself up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for all the conversation. And I'll see you next week as we count down to the great European tour. And for those who come in on Saturday, I'll see you then. We're going to have a good time. Bye. I didn't go. I pressed the wrong button. So I'm just sat there. That's good, isn't it? I'll have to edit that part out. Right, let's try again. Bye.